Hey, what's up, people? This is Anthony on another Saturday. This is vlog number 3 uh, for talking about my books, my publications, and this one is actually the very first book that I wrote back in 2006. And this one will always kind of be uh, sort of a special one for me, just because it was the very first novel that I ever completed. Because before then, I used to write a lot of short stories, um, and even if I did try to, start on a novel, I probably only got to like page 10 or page 15, and it just never, just felt right, and it just never got finished. So this one was actually the first one that was ever completed. And this one is actually called Mayhem, another horror story. It kind of and still has that old school feel to it. And what makes it different is that instead of it being one main protagonist, how it usually is in these stories, it's actually three. And you just kind of follow them along as the things unfold within their lives and in their situation. But the thing about this particular book is that it came to me entirely as a dream, and which I think kind of adds to the specialness of it. I mean, it wasn't a whole dream where I just went to sleep one night and just saw everything from beginning, middle, to end. It was actually probably more about 60% of this the story, and I had to obviously fill in the rest. But it was it was just really interesting that night. This was a typical summer night 6 years ago, or 7 years ago now actually. And it it just started off like just so normally, and the way that it worked is like I was like one of the characters, and then I had two others, which was a female and another guy. And the way it worked out was just it the way the story told itself was that these three teenagers didn't really get along, and whose names are Abby Thomas, Brian Carter, and Chris Alden, and they all go to the same high school, and they're chosen to go on the school incentive, which is also an incentive for other schools in the district, but only 3 students are chosen, and they happen to be the ones that are chosen from their school. And they have nothing in common. They've never really talked to each other. I mean, they know each other obviously just from around, and just living in their small town, and just growing up in the same schools with each other. But they've got their own little kind of things outside of that just don't bring them all together in the beginning. Abby's like really kind of popular girl, not in the sense of like she's in line for to be the homecoming queen or the prom queen or something like that. She's kind of known in school. She has her friends, and she's just in the in crowd. And Brian, he's kind of, I'd say he's not really on the inside of the crowd, inside crowd like that as she is, but he actually he's just more reserved. Just he doesn't kind of really go out a ton, and he's just more laid back. Has his own little group of friends. They kind of do their own thing. And then you have Chris, who's just completely aloof, compared to Abby and Brian. He has no friends, and he's actually kind of known as kind of the asshole, and his school just kind of has this attitude about him, and just the way that he acts. It's not that he like intentionally goes out and tries to hurt anybody or anything like that. It's just there's something on his shoulder that just kind of propels him to be the way that he is. And so they have absolutely nothing in common, and these three are like the farthest, kind of, they're all just this huge dichotomy, and for them to actually be chosen for this is just so random. And what they actually get chosen for is to participate in just a group thing with the other students from the other schools, and that they get to just kind of, I guess, learn things and learn things about each other. And it's just something that the school felt like it was something interesting to do. And they actually spend a weekend there, and it's at a campsite, and the camp's not open at this time. It's just just for them to be there. At the time there's 13 students total, and it's out of town. It's about 5 hours from their hometown. And then after they get there, they kind of meet the other students, and it's actually they kind of actually break off a little bit and start interacting with the students from the other schools rather than interacting with each other, even though they go to the same school. And actually, along the way, in a separate, kind of story, in the midst of, their kind of small drama, there's this, kind of malevolent thing going on. Nothing supernatural, but there's a man who actually, a week prior to this, had murdered five kids at a birthday party. And the reason he was actually at the birthday party, because he was hired to perform there. He is actually a clown, to entertain, and he just went postal, and he killed these 5 kids, and he ended up escaping. So he's actually been on the run for a whole week. And while he's on the road, he kind of stumbles upon the camp that all the kids are at, and they have absolutely no idea about him, and have absolutely no idea that he's there. He kind of stays way in the background in the shadows, and he probably stays about half a mile away from the actual campsite in this old shack, just kind of contemplating, and the fact that there are these teenagers there, and he has like this thirst for blood, and he just sees it as like a golden opportunity to kind of wreck his just this terrible, the thing that just kind of makes him tick. And so while this is happening, Abby, Brian, and Chris actually have this opportunity to actually get to know each other, in a sense, which actually all the students do. But the assignment for that particular day is that you have to get to know the people that you're around, that are in your school. So they're actually in one of the cabins, and kind of starts off kind of slow, and they just kind of think it's lame, and like you don't really want to do it, and don't want to share anything personal. But actually Chris is actually the first one to step up and admit something in his life, and he admits some of the things in his past, and it becomes clear that Abby and Brian, this is probably the reason he is the way that he is, and they kind of see him in a different light at that point. And it's almost like they kind of understand where he's coming from, even though they haven't been where he is. They just just get that empathy for him, and in the same light of that, kind of propels Brian and Abby to kind of share some things in their lives. And after they've have told each other these things, they realize that they not really have a whole lot in common, but more or less they kind of just garner more of a, I don't know, I'd say more of a just a thing about each other that that they can feel that they can connect with. And at that point they kind of are more vocal with each other, and just this thing that just totally took them by surprise, and they actually can almost consider themselves friends now, even though they still have a lot to learn about each other. And even all the while that this is going, the killer, whose name is actually Jonas Greeley, that particular night he decides he's gonna do what he set out to do, and just kind of wreck this detrimental havoc on the camp. And a lot of students are lost. And at the end of the book, well, not actually at the end, but within the third act of the story, you realize, or there's a huge twist that that I'm hoping nobody sees coming, really until it actually happens, and that they just kind of rocks the whole camp, that something that they just never expected. And and it was, I just think, I just thought it was, just really interesting to have a twist in there, because originally when I wrote this, it didn't have anything to do with clown, or anything of that. Really, the original story was two guys, an uncle and his nephew, break out of prison, and they happen to stumble upon the camp, and neither one of them is a clown or anything like that. And I just felt that this clown aspect was kind of a good idea, and it kind of goes along with me, because I actually have chirophobia, which is you know the technical term for having a fear of clowns. And I've had a fear of clowns since I was a kid, and I just knew a lot of the things that what scared me about clowns, and really wanted to project that in a story. uh, there's just something about them. They're always smiling, they're always jolly, you're always jovial, and they're supposed to be your friend, and something or someone you can trust. But it just always seemed to me that there's something behind that makeup and more to it, and just made it more uh, scary to me. And I really like that, even though it kind of really freaks me out too at the same time. And so I thought it'd be a good story to tell. And this one, this is actually the cover of the book. Another design by my friend Steve Collier, who's done all the other ones for Bloodshed and Clandestine. And what actually makes this book a little bit more, something a little bit different, is that it has pictures in it. Not to the effect of a graphic novel, which usually has pictures on every page. This one, it's like every, maybe 10 pages, or every, 17 pages or so, there's a picture. And I just always thought that was an interesting thing to have in a book. Just kind of, emphasizes on something, that you just read, and you just kind of get that visual, and just kind of makes it more interesting. And actually, the way that I wanted this one to be done was that all the images be in black and white. But when someone is murdered, or read them getting killed, then the actual blood that is on the page is the color it's supposed to be, the crimson red. And so everybody can see, this is, the clown, Jonas, killing one of the students, and you see, all the blood splatter from, the hammer that he's using to kill him with. And just I just always thought it was kind of cool, just to just to have that in the story. And I actually want to get back into doing that with my stories. That actually wasn't something I wanted to give up, but with the two latest books that I had, there wasn't a lot of time to get that in there. Even though I had some images for Bloodshed, they just never were able to get used. And so with the next few stories that I'm going to be writing here within, one I'll be starting here within the next week or so, and another story after that. I'm hoping to get that aspect back into it, and just to give, just to make it, something more, in my style, and more me, and just something that you just don't really see a lot. And I just think things like that are interesting, and just a lot of fun, especially in like horror stories. Just always have these crazy images in your head, and to actually see some of the craziness that's actually going on. I think it's kind of a fun way to read, and just have an experience when you get lost into a book. And so just so everybody can see it again one more time, Mayhem. Mayhem is actually not available on Amazon or CreateSpace like the other two. It's actually available at thebookpatch.com. I'm actually working on trying to get it on Amazon, so to be more accessible. And Amazon is obviously a place where people know more. but it is available at the book patch, like I said. So you know, if you get the time and you don't want to kind of read something a little bit different, you know, it's there. So all I can tell you is just buy it, read it, and love it. Alright, y'all. Peace out.